Hello, family. Welcome to another special edition of the Validitude Podcast. And our goal with this show and company is to help you, our listeners, bridge the gap between your dreams and reality by bringing guests who have achieved incredible success. On today's episode, we have a very special guest. He is the founder of the King's Empire, a thriving business that has different subsidiaries, including KingsCab, King's Auto, King's and Queen's Boutique, also King's Business School. Please help me and welcoming the king of the King's Empire, Mr. Michael. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. We are glad to have you on our show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My first question for you, sir, is basically, how are you able to balance the demands of running all this business you are running at the same time? Because, even trying to run just a single business can be a very difficult task. How are you able to do all of that?
Thank you very much. Well, I always say this, that success is first of all who you are before you can transmit it to others. So I build structures. It's not easy. I'm a practical person. What I do is I build structures. I build systems. I go by the principle of delegation. I believe that I can achieve my goals through others. So what I do usually is I train people that are, they start usually from the base level, then I bring them up and I sell my mind to them by training. You see, I always say you cannot demand what you have not supplied. So what I do is I always bring people in closer. Once I notice some values, some traits of what I love in a person. Because the first thing is not to put skills before, loyalty. So once I find loyalty in one person, two people, then I draw them closer, whether male or female, then I begin to impart them knowledge, get them books to read, then I use them as structures to be able to achieve other things that I want to achieve.
Wow.
So that has usually been my system. Build a structure, get people to do the things that I would do, because I can't be everywhere at the same time. As I'm here now, business is going on. So what if I don't have people that will move the business? That's it.
Oh, that's powerful. So you mean impact people and you gather a team of smart people to help you.
Yes.
Wow, that's so powerful. Yes. At King's Business School, you teach people, on how to run businesses. And so what advice do you have for someone who, just want to start into business, want to start running business, or maybe just, graduated from school and it's like, okay, there's no job, I need to start a business. What advice will you give that person?
Well, first of all, I started business quite early. Many people, of course, the King's Empire, the boutique, the cab service, the car sales, the loan, and also the business school were not the first set of things I started with. I always advise that you should start early. When you start early, you might not make the profits, but you will make the knowledge. I read a book then by Robert Kiyosaki on Rich Dad Poor Dad. He said you should first of all work to learn before you work to make money. That knowledge stuck with me since I was a student here. I place my hand on different things. So usually my advice is always to tell people to, put their hands in things. It could be internship, it could be volunteering. Many things you will learn while volunteering. Everything should not be about making money first. For example, the first person I worked for on this campus, I met him at Sports Center and I told him I wanted to volunteer to manage his bookshop. And he was shocked. He was like, he's hearing that for the first time. Am I saying I don't want to be paid? I said, yes, I want to learn. And that same day, he gave me the job. And when he saw the way I was doing it, then he started paying me. He paid me so well, and that was not our first discussion. I remember then in Faji Hall, we had the biggest private bookshop on this campus.
Wow.
Yes, this is OAE, we had the biggest private, apart from the OAE bookshop, our bookshop was the biggest then. And, from there, I was able to gain knowledge. So I always tell people, start small, Start with what you have. Start from where you are with what you have, and then gradually grow. If what you have is service, then start there. If that is all, because everything people are always asking me that question, especially in the business school, the question of capital, where do I get money? Then that's the problem. The problem is that money is not usually the first thing all the time. Yeah, money is important. You cannot push business without money. But for example, I didn't start with money. I didn't have the money. My parents were poor. I came to school. I had to do some menial jobs before I could pay for my jump myself. But when I started volunteering, I started gaining knowledge, and then I started becoming better as a person. Then my values, what I've gained, became valuable things to others to pay for. So I usually advise, start small, start from where you are, start with what you have from where you are. If it is knowledge you have, give it. If it is service you can volunteer to give it. And before you know it, people start paying you for what you offer. So, and then you grow from there.
That's very important, because there's a popular quote that says, when you learn, you remove the L, then you earn.
Yes.
So I think that's also very important.
Yes.
Let's go a little bit back in your story, because I found out that during your campus days you sold raw eggs.
Yes.
How did you move from selling?
You've done some research on me. Yes.
So how did you move from selling raw eggs on campus to where you are today?
Well, I mean, my story on this campus is a story that is, there's nobody I've told that is not inspiring. Let me tell you, when I entered this campus, I had just one trouser, black. I came into this campus first as a diploma student. Then there was this Unifex diploma. They had this, I think they've turned it to a degree now. They are doing, I think, in the Faculty of Admin. I did business administration. There was accounting, I think marketing, then pub admin. I think all those things have now turned to departments in OAE now. Now, I started with phone call. It wasn't even HEG. HEG was when I had gotten admission as an 100-level student. Then the bus stop was at SUB. So I used to hold 3310 phone. There's this Nokia phone that has on. Black, big phone. Then I saw recharge cards. Then what I was doing was this. I was able to get the phone. I think the phone was 3,000 naira that time. Then phone call was fixed rate of 20 naira per minute. So we buy, recharge card from Glue or MTN or all these multi-links, different of them. Then I started making phone calls. From there, I was able to open an account. When I entered OAU, then I continued the phone call in my room at Angola C2. I was making phone calls. Then there was one day, some of my roommates were looking for egg, and they were always going to the butchery, and then they couldn't find egg in the butchery. And I was like, I can be selling egg. Then I had these buckets in my room, just normal bucket. And I heard that OAU School Farm was selling egg. They sell egg at School Farm. Then I just started going there. I think they were selling every Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I would just go there early. I'll buy egg, place them. There's a way they will arrange like 4 or 5 crates of egg inside the bucket. I'll put the bucket on my head, carry a bike. Then we used to go to the farm behind Faculty of Agri. We go quite far. Then I'll come back to my room, and then I'll tell my room. Then I was advertising as if I was selling car. I'll be like, buy 2 egg for 15 naira. It was then 30 naira per egg. Then I was selling 2 for 15 naira. Then I will paste paper on almost all the storage tanks inside all these tanks where we fetch water. So whoever is coming to fetch water, you see my advert. And that's one of the things that has helped me today with my publicity. Publicity does not have to be necessarily expensive. It has to just be creative. And the most expensive things in the world are not usually what usually sometimes bring the best results. Sometimes it's just your creativity. Those are the things I learned. That's why I always tell people that when you are small, you will build some tenets, some habits that will see you through when you become big. That's why today it's hard for me to give up, because if I sold the egg on campus and I didn't give up when I didn't know anybody, I cannot give up. I cannot turn my back on whatever business I'm doing. So those things I learned while I was a student selling egg. I sold egg, I sold recharge cards, I sold scientific calculators, this FX991. Yes, I sold landmark physics. There's this landmark physics then. We used to come to Ajose to sell. Then there was someone that would supply me. I would say she was giving me at 20% discount. So I think we were selling it 600 naira. She was giving me 480. So I would sell and I was selling. So when I sell, I will go back to her. She will do the account. She will give me my 120 naira per book. And I could sell 100 sometimes in chemistry class. I could sell 50, 60. So those were the things, despite not the days of little beginning, those were the days where I really, really learned the hurdles, the ruggedity in business. Like I always tell people, it's not just enough to have vision. You have to be rugged. You have vision. Many people have vision, they give up. But when it became tough, they turned their back. But when you become strong, when you've been through things, they are not things that will kill you. No, they won't kill you. They will only make it tough. And when you are becoming tough, when you become tough like that, there won't be any environment you won't be able to survive. If you are able to survive in Ife, I don't believe there's any place that will go that will survive. Yeah, that's just it.
Wow, that's so powerful and very inspiring.
Thank you very
Talking
much.
about selling, because you say you sold, I think you've learned some of the key principles to selling. And even in your autos, you sell cars and all of that. What would you tell an entrepreneur who wants to, increase in sales in business? What advice you give that person on sales?
My first principle about selling is that the worst answer in sales is no. So once you prepare your mind that the worst thing anyone will say to you is no, then you've already told yourself that you have failed before you are tempted. Then that means when you succeed, it becomes positive. For example, if I come to you, I'm selling this shoe, and say, hey, Mr. Valutide, or Valutitude, thank you. Valutitude, I'm selling this shoe, it's 30K. The worst thing you will tell me is no, I am not buying. So that means I already have more than 50% success, because you could actually tell me I will buy later, and you could tell me I'll buy now. How much is it? Okay, drop it. So once it comes to sales, the first thing is that you must be selling something that is valuable to people. Don't sell lies. Don't tell people to buy something that you know yourself you can't buy. That's what I train my staff. When we're in the office, I'll tell them what we are selling is valuable. What we are selling at KingsCab is comfort. What we are selling is security. What we are selling is reliability. If you call KingsCab 1 a.m., we will come once you can pay me. That's what I'm selling. And people will buy value. People will buy comfort. People will buy speed. We are selling speed. If you call us, we will get to you in 5 minutes. If we won't get to you in 5 minutes, we'll tell you how many minutes we can get to you. And we will get there. If you come to buy, right when we came here, I just met someone that has bought a car from me before. If it was a bad deal, he won't smile when he saw me here. He just saw me here now, and he's got a car from me in less than a year. If it was a bad deal, once he saw me, I will even hide my face. I remember when he wanted to buy the car, the windscreen was bad. He was like, I would like you to change it for me. I didn't charge him a dime. I just said, okay, fine, I've made enough profit to be able to change your windscreen. So I took the car to Oshogo and I changed the windscreen for him, free of charge. So when you are selling valuable things, you are selling speed, you are selling comfort, you are selling what you will see the buyer tomorrow and you'll still be able to hug or at least shake the person, you will succeed. Then when it comes to sales, you must be ready to be visible. For example, someone said, when you are doing something good and you are not advertising, you are like someone that is winking in the dark. You know what you are doing, but nobody is saying it. I can go to the dark place and be doing like this to a beautiful lady. Is she seeing me? But am I winking? Yes, I am, but she's not seeing me, so you have to be visible. You have to advertise. Publicity is key. Of course, within a budget. You must have a budget. Everybody will come to you as a business person. Oh yeah, we are doing this program, give us money. You have to have a budget. Okay, this month we are spending 50,000. This month we are spending 100,000. So once you get to your budget, then you stop and wait for another time. Then you must have plans for marketing and sales. Train people to be able to sell. There is a skill in selling. You can't just tell. For example, I have a principle that the buyer will never trust the seller. That is part of the principles of sales. I will only say good things about what I want to sell. So I must be able to convince you to bring out the money from your pocket. Okay, why am I selling this thing? What I tell you, okay, you want to sell this chain to me. Why? Wearing a necklace, wearing a chain, we boost your morale, we boost your self-ego. So those are things you tell the buyer that, you're going to do very good. You'll be proud of yourself having this in your hand, buying this car from us. I mean, you're not going to need any reason to enter public transport for the next 10 years. Of course, you could put some level of enticement to it, but not lies. Yeah. So that's just basic things about sales. Yes, and you must be bold. You must be confident. You must be enthusiastic. You can't sell frowning. Whenever I get to the office and I see staff frowning, the first thing I ask is, do you have a challenge that is personal? Do you want to take a break? Because once you frown, you already push the buyer. I can't frown to you. I can't come here now and frown in my face and you even leave. Even if I'm your parent and I'm frowning up and down, I want to stay in my room as a child. I don't want to go to a dad that his eyes is hard all the time. Same thing with a salesperson. You have to smile. You have to be warm. You have to be friendly. Yes, you have to be in charge. You have to be smart. But at the same time, you have to be very welcoming, friendly. You have to be warm. The word warm is not like you are hot in your body, but you are accommodating. And it's not even important that they buy now. I always tell them in the office that if someone comes, price everything. We have a boutique where we sell clothes.
Yes.
If someone comes, prices this, prices that, it doesn't mean that person is a bad person. Maybe he's doing window shopping. But when you give him an experience, we use the word experience in our office. We don't use customer service because customer service is limited. We use the word, we give you an experience that when you go back, man, I like that place. So even though I didn't buy anything, I'll have to go back. We make you feel at home. We make you feel like you don't have to buy it today. We are not desperate, even though we are determined. There are two different things. Once you are desperate, you push the person away. Like, you have to buy it now. Sir, if you don't buy it, my boss will talk. I mean, so what's my business with your boss talking? You have to let them know what the advantages they will have having those products or services from you. Then when they don't even buy, shake them with a smile and say, thank you for coming, we appreciate it. We know you come back to buy from. So the person goes down and thinks, so there's a shop in Ife that could treat people like this. I thought it was just about all fighting. If we don't buy, they will fight us. But these people gave me an experience. I will go back. I'll go back. And the person will definitely come back. That's the truth.
Wow. I think he said something there that is very powerful. He said, don't be desperate, but be determined.
Yes.
That's such a very powerful content. On your Twitter, I think you teach some stuff on your Twitter. And I saw something there that is very powerful now.
Wow.
You said wealth that will last isn't built in a day, it is built daily. He said the greatest force of sustainable wealth isn't money but knowledge. And when I was really, interested in that, because how is knowledge the greatest source of sustainable wealth?
Thank you very much. Beautiful question. If you give money to a fool, you've just lost the money. A fool is someone that has cash, but that doesn't have the knowledge to retain the money. I'm not going to give some examples so that we're not going to have some social response that won't be favorable to us. Now, let me give you a scenario. You are a friend or you are a son. Why won't you give your card to an 8-year-old child that is your son? Even in the Bible, he said an heir, he owns everything. But he's under tutelage until he comes to full knowledge. So the Bible even talked about knowledge there. So what I usually say is this: knowledge will sustain whatever money you make. If you make money without knowledge, you will lose it. Because there are 3 hems of money. And in the 3 hems, knowledge is the most important. There is money making, there is money management, which is the second hem, and there is a third one, which is money multiplication. If you don't have knowledge, you can make money, but you won't be able to manage it. And once you are not able to manage it, you will lose the money. Money has feathers, it will fly. It will fly off. So this is it. If I make money now, if I don't have the knowledge, which is what will be able to make me sustain that money, then I will start living some life that will bring detrimental things to my health, that will make me have friends that could arrange how they could rob me. Yeah, there are things that are avoidable. Once you don't have the knowledge, for example, if you don't have knowledge about keeping money, you can buy a land and do nothing about the land, and the land can be taken over from you. It's still knowledge. For example, I buy a land now, I don't do anything about the land. I didn't even do my agreements, I didn't even fence, I didn't even do corner piece. And then people encroach on the land and they take over the land and they resell it. Then maybe I go to court. The first thing they will ask me, where is the papers? Where are the papers? That's knowledge. So I don't have any paper. The judge will just be like, guy, sir, you just lost your land. So knowledge is key. That's why Francis Bacon said, he said knowledge is power. When you don't have knowledge, whatever you're able to gather will leave. It's a matter of time. So get knowledge. I read books a lot. For example, there's a stage in my business now that for the past 6 months, that's what I've been studying. How to do my business without being there. That is what I've seen that. To me now, life is in phases. And when you get to a point, you will always need knowledge. And once you know more, you advance to the next level of life, of success, of increase. So it's knowledge that will take you to the next level. I know now that the next level of my business is to become a global brand. We've done well in Osun State, we've done well in Southwest Nigeria. I need to get to a point where I can be in US and my business is running smoothly in Ibadan, in Lagos, in London. How do I get there? It's knowledge. So I started buying books. I lodged in an hotel in Ibadan. When my mom died in January, we lodged in an hotel. And I saw that the man has true knowledge, been able to build some great empire. Then I bought all the books he has. He has written books. I think I bought 49 books for about almost 70,000 that day. The lady at the reception was shocked, like, I said, how many books has this man written? And he said, they have a list. I said, bring me the list. I saw the list and I said, okay, how much is everything? The lady was like, sir, which one do you want to buy? I said, I'm buying every book this man has written and I'm going to lock myself up and read them. The man has written books. For sake of advertisement, I might not mention the man's hotel and hospital. He has one of the biggest private hospitals in Ibadan and in Lagos and in Abeokuta. And this man said he travels with his wife and children for 6 months. I said, hey, can I even go for 1 week? And things will not go, sir. So I know that there is something this man knows that I don't know. Then I need to get it. That is how to sustain wealth. So I bought all these books. There's some there that I think it was more peculiar to my wife, so I gave them to her. There were some that were more particular. My daughter is now 8, so I started making her to read books. Books, yes. I bought her the iPad, and I made sure before I gave her the iPad, there were more books than games on the iPad for her. Because why? I know the more she knows, the better she will become, the better our society will be. If my daughter is knowledgeable, if my sons are knowledgeable, they will be valuable to the society. They won't become riffraffs in the society. So at least I'm reducing the risk and the evil in the society. So I've been reading the man's book, and you know what? For the first time, I've been able to leave KingsCab in Ife for the past 3 months without any stress. Why? Before, if anything happens, I'm going there myself to go and sort it out. Something happened last 2 weeks. Someone took our Benz for a wedding. And while they were going to church, the bed of the Benz caught. So the steering, all these advanced cars, now once the bed cuts, the steering becomes stiff, the AC goes, everything is run around the bed. So they were able to manage to get to the church. And then the driver called me and said, sir, I don't know what's happening. He didn't even know that at that time that the bed had caught. He just called me that the steering is stiff, but he's been able to park, but the man has gone inside the church, but he will soon come out to go to the reception. Before I read that man's book, I will take a bike or just quickly drive and go there. I just said, okay, calm down. Open the bonnet. He opened it. I said, try and find out what has gone wrong. He said, sir, I just noticed that the bed has got. I said, okay, fine. Take that bed. Are you able to get a mechanic there? Before I read those books, all my system would have scattered. I would be like, hey, they've paid us big money. The man will come out now, he will start shouting. I will quickly, I could even leave my car, take a bike and run to the church. So I didn't even move. And it was the knowledge I've had myself with from those books. So I just told him, get a mechanic around. If I go there, is it not to get a solution? So why should I go? He can do it. So I told him, get a mechanic around. Get someone that can fix it. It's a Mercedes-Benz, so you have to get a very sensitive and a very smart mechanic, because not everybody that can do a Mercedes. So he took the bet, took it to Adiremi, bought another one. Everything I just transferred money to him. Then he bought the bet. Within 15 minutes, they fixed it. Then I told myself, you are getting better. Knowledge will make you better. Knowledge will make you live longer. Yeah, knowledge will make your life more beautiful. You won't run etasketa when you have knowledge. In places you are not supposed to be, you won't go there because of knowledge. So that's why knowledge will help you to sustain wealth. So you can make money. Look at all these footballers, many of these, celebrity artists. Then they are getting wiser and smarter now. Look at some of them. They made billions, some in dollars. But before they get to their 50, some even 45, 50, they're already broke, they're bankrupt. Why? They didn't have knowledge. But some of them are getting smarter now. Look at Kante now, he left Chelsea, he's bought a club in another country. It's knowledge, they're getting better. So knowledge will make you better. That's just the thing.
Wow. Impressive. It's different from making money, managing money, and multiplying money.
Yeah.
Wow, such a powerful insight. In 2016, you had an interview with Nigerian Tribute, and the headline was "How I Turned 45,000 business into 10 million. So
In 6 years.
in 6 years,
Yes.
how were you able to do that, and how were you able to create such wealth? Was it through hard work or smart work, or the combination of both? How were you able to do that?
Okay, so 2016 is a very remarkable year in my life. That was the year we started KingsCab. The new Oni of Ife, the present Oni, became king November, I think November 15 or thereabout. So I saw a need. Then there was no cab service in Ife. I pioneered cab services in the whole of Osun State. It's not just Ife, in the whole of Osun State. You can Google it, yes. I started private cab services in the whole of Osun State, especially in Ife. And then I saw a lot of people trooping in to Ife. And then there was need for a better way for them to move. The only thing in Ife is bus, tango. There is no even car in Ife, apart from the ones at Campus Gate at night. They don't even ply the town. So I say, is this what people that are coming to visit the Oni, or people that are coming in for his coronation, is this what they will be using? Then I had a car, just a car. And I told myself, I said, I'm going to start something, beautiful that will make people move easily. So when we started, a lot of people started calling, newspaper called, Nation called me, The Mirror. It wasn't just Tribune that published our interview. I think the Tribune newspaper, The Nation, and Mirror, National Mirror, they published. Those were those that published, and some of them just left it online. Now, so when I started business in 2011, that was when I graduated 2010, then I moved to town. I started with, clothing. I started selling suits. Majorly, I was selling suits. And I started with 45,000 naira. Wow. I had 5 suits at 9,000 naira each. Yes, that was what I could buy. That was what my power could take. So I started marketing them. I started going to banks. There was no bank in Ife. I didn't go. Just 5 suits. But I had a pact agreement with someone, which was to leverage, which was what I leveraged on. He had a suit store in Osogbo. So I had just 5 suits, which I could buy from him. I bought them from him, which was 45,000 naira. But we had an agreement that there's no way 5 suits can go anywhere. Even 5 suits, if I go to someone, it can't even size some people. So I told him, once I have a customer, and the customer needs a size that is not part of the 5 I collected, he's going to give me, so we're going to do an exchange. So he's going to give me the size I need to sell, and then I'm going to pay for it since I'm selling. So from 5, I started marketing, I started selling. The first suit I sold was to one man then in town. I went to meet him. He bought the suit for me. I think then the suit was 10,000 naira, and the man was giving me for 9,000. I was just making 1,000 naira on the suit. Then from there, I was able to sell 12,000, and then gradually, with hard work, and I started saving. I remember when I started saving, every money I made, both the government, federal payments, was on a time that they changed it to 19.8. It was 9.8. When we started saving, they changed it to 19.8. So I was putting everything back. I was selling suits. I didn't have suits because I couldn't afford it. And that's the mistake also that many people make in business. They do not understand and practice the law of delayed gratification. It's a very powerful thing that has destroyed many businesses. I've arrived. Now I can buy a big car. You see, there is difference between your business and you. That's why Solomon versus Solomon, the first law of business. He said the business is a separate and a legal entity, different from the owner of the business. Yeah. Now, I started applying those laws. And that's why school is not scam. We came to school to learn how to do things better in life. You might not use your certificate. As I'm telling you, I've not even collected my certificate from OAE. But I've used the knowledge I gained from OAE. So, what I was doing is that, personally, I was living the life that I could afford, which was to hit. That is the only thing I need at that time, hit and live. Then put everything I have on the business. So whatever money I get, gifts from anyone, parents send anything, I do anything, I was applying everything back on the business. Everything, and I mean everything. The only thing I was doing for myself was hitting. And I was cooking myself. I was not buying food from anywhere. I made the food. I made sure my place of staying was not far from where I was displaying my clothes. I started in my room. From my room, I moved to the sitting room. From the sitting room, I moved to a place. I got a land. And then that was when the container idea started in Ife. So I got a container and I put it on that land. So gradually, the income started increasing. And I made sure I was saving everything. I used the word everything, and I mean it. Apart from what I used to eat, I put everything back. no girlfriend. That's it. Nobody. It was just me and I think my younger brother that was with me when he just finished secondary school. So I told him to come. He was attending jam classes. Then we're just doing everything together. It wasn't just the clothes. I still continued the books I was selling. The woman that was giving books still continued giving me books. So while I had graduated, I was still coming to Adjose chemistry class. It used to be very early, around 5 a.m. You see students already inside the class at Adjose. So I would come sell books. So what I did was, whatever I knew my focus was the fashion at that time. So every other thing I was doing, the calculator, I still sold egg in town, the books. So whatever profit I was making, I was putting it on because I know the business I wanted to build was the fashion store. So every other ones were subsidiaries. So I was just putting it on it, and I started growing gradually. By the time I finished my NYC, I think I had $1 million in my account. Yes, I was able to save because I was strict with myself. I didn't go to where I'm not invited to. I didn't buy the clothes that I know I can't afford. I was still managing my normal clothes. I didn't have a suit, I didn't have a blazer, and I was selling it. So I didn't buy an expensive wristwatch, and that is it. Even now, there are things that I might have the money in my account, but I will ask myself, am I the one that has that money of my business? Yes. The business now can buy some cars, but I won't buy them. Why? Because I know that if I buy that car, it is like I'm trying to show off. And that's the thing that we need to tell ourselves. Business has levels. Once you have not grown to a point whereby you could afford some luxuries, avoid them because they will kill the business. You could put a luxury. I could afford to buy a wristwatch of 2 million now, but I won't buy it. Why? Because the implication on the business. What's the implication of the watch I'm buying for myself? What will it have on the business I'm trying to build? So once you're able to answer those things, discipline yourself to live a very frugal life. Yeah, be very frugal. Spend what you know needs to be spent so that you will not use your personal decisions to destroy the business growth. So, and that's popular with Africans. We like to show up. We like to attend every party. I didn't attend parties. I will tell you, I can't, sorry. I'm just starting.
Yeah. Wow, so interesting. I think, the popular saying that people like to, people become poor trying to look rich.
Yes.
Yeah. And
yes.
Yeah. That ruggedness that you have in business, the way you are strict yourself, the publicity going from doors to door. Were you born with it, or you learned it from a mentor, or how did you get that ruggedness?
Wow, yeah, that's a good question. I will give all the praise to God and my mother. My mother taught me a lot. She's late now. Blessed memory,
Yeah,
I took a lot of values from her. I saw my mom do business while I was small. My mom was selling maize. My mom was selling palm oil. She was in local government in Ibadan. She was in, I think, Ibadan North East local government. She was an administrator there. But she did all sorts of business. She was selling boy. She would go to Bodija. She didn't push me into them. She didn't, but I saw them. My dad never did any business. My dad has always been a journalist, a career man, pastor, but my mom did businesses. That's first thing. My first mentor is my mother. Yes. Then my second mentors were books. I started reading books. I always tell people that don't rush after meeting people. Go after the knowledge they've put out in the space. If I want to meet Donald Trump, I don't have to go to US. Donald Trump has written books. Yeah, Samadi Ami has written books. Kiyosaki, my best author, Priya Tracy. These people have put their life in their notes, in their videos. Why don't I go on YouTube? Many people go on YouTube and they are typing rubbish. Go there, type, how can I become a successful business person? How can I market well? Everything is on Google. You will see them. So my mentor, my mother, and then of course while I got to AU, I had someone that I believe really helped me. His name is Kolade. The man owns a bank now. Yeah, he was a student here. He was the one that was managing his bookshop. He taught me some basic things. He was always pointing my attention to books. One thing that's helped me in life is reading books, and that's my closest friend. Apart from my wife, my closest friend is books. You cannot see me without books. That's the first thing I do in the morning. That's the last thing I do at night. I read, because readers are leaders in whatever capacity and in whatever field. If you read on politics, you become better. If you read on leadership, you become better. Whatever you read about, you definitely become better. If you sincerely read, not just for head knowledge, but for heart knowledge. Well, concerning my being rugged, life has also made me rugged though. If you're going to succeed as a business person in Nigeria, you have to be strong. Strong, not necessarily in your body, but in your mind. You have to tell yourself, I'm not going to turn my back. Because things will always be at your front that will push you to want to turn back. I always say this, that first 3 years of any business won't be fine. And that's why many people give up. You see, when we started the car business, a lot of people entered in the industry. Once someone paves the way, it's normal. It's a principle in economics. It's perfect market. So there's free entry, there's free exit. So the business I'm doing, you can start it today. Anybody can start it. But it's not just about being enthusiastic about it. When you want to start business, you're happy, the ideas, you're smiling. Hey, man, you're going to face things. But you have to tell yourself, I'm not going to give up. I faced things. When I started KingsCab, I'm even the pioneer, so I don't even have any pre-knowledge. I didn't even have anybody that had done it that I could, okay, this is how they do it. Many people will take our cabs, they won't pay. Then I remember, I personally drove people to Palace, and once the person dropped, the person will just enter the Palace. And then, we didn't discuss anything. They will just call me from camera, hello, KingsCab, someone needs a ride. I won't even discuss nothing. I just, I get there, and the person will enter and say, I'm coming here, I want to see cabins. There, I didn't know you cannot see cabins in 10 minutes. You will go inside, and you might not come out in 2-3 hours. Then I'll wait. I'll call the person's number, he won't pick. I'll be angry with myself. I'll go back home. Then I always do something. After the business of the day, I usually go to Cameroon, I'll go and sit down, and I will analyze my day. I'll look at everything. What are the mistakes I made today? How could I have done it better? Okay, should I have spoken with the person and say, I'm charging 1,000? Then when we got there, should I have told the person that, okay, see, give me that 1,000 naira. Now, since I've gotten you here, then pay me. Then if you need me again, then you can come back. So I started getting better, learning, getting better, learning, getting better. And now, it's as though I have become so comfortable. It's not like it started all of a sudden. This is the 7th year this is the 7th year of KingsCab now. The first 2-3 years were tough. And that's why I always tell people, so when you start, if you want to compete with us, you will need some years to also, learn. You will need to learn, no matter how. Even if you copy all our ideas, when you get to the field, you will realize that it's more than just copying the vision and the mission of KingsCab. You will face issues with mechanics, you face issues with drivers, they will lie to you, you have to track your cars, know where the cars are at every moment, and they will still, some of them will even do anything to, there was one of our drivers then that was trying to remove the tracker because he wanted to take another trip from Lagos to Benin. We sent him to Lagos, so he took customers himself and wanted to pass this Shagam road. Then he got a rewire to be trying to remove the tracker. I was shutting the car down, he was running it back. Wow. So those are the things that you will see. In business, you have to be built yourself, and that is the thing. Everything rises and falls on the leader. You are the founder, you are the owner, you are the one that others are learning from. So you have to be strong. Sometimes things will happen that I'm not happy, but once I get to the front of my staff, I have to smile, because whatever you put to them is what they will also continue doing for the rest of the day. So I get to the office, sometimes I might have an issue at home. I get to the office, I have to smile, make everybody happy. It's a lie. And then I go back to my office and I'll start thinking. But you have to, be strong. Being strong in your mind first, because everything centers around your mind. Your mind says you have to be strong, you have to be enthusiastic, you have to be positive also. In life, you have to be positive. Be positive more than being negative. Even when you know that, okay, these things are, bothering you, be positive about them. Positivity is something that will take you far. Like they said, there was a time they put, water in a cup, and they told 2 set of people to tell what is the state of the water. Someone says it's half empty, another person is half full. Of course, they are saying the same thing, but from different perspectives. So one person is a positive person, the other person is a negative person. So in life, see positivities. When challenges come, of course, take them as they can, but try to build yourself and be strong around it. A lot of things will face you in business, but you have to be strong. You have to be strong, and also the grace of God. Very important.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
It's a privilege.
So where do you see KingsCab in the next 5 years?
Wow, thank you. I see KingsCab everywhere in Nigeria in the next 5 years. Yes, we have a plan. The next 5 years, that's between now and 2027. Of course, the plan is even before 2023. We are in all Southwest states now. We are in Osun State, we are in Oyo State, Ibadan, we are in Lagos, we are in Ekiti, Ado Ekiti, we are in Oshogbo, we are in Akure. And so in the next 5 years, I believe strongly that we would have been able to spread all over Nigeria. And the strategy is simple. God is helping us to put some things in place, which I would not want to disclose here for business reasons. Yes.
Thank you.
It will be, what we are doing will be a leverage. We leap us to everywhere, in Nigeria. And it's a possibility. We've done our research. We believe, what we are selling at KingsCab, I always tell people, what we are selling is even bigger than what Uber or Taxify or anybody is selling. It's a simple, we are selling loyalty. We could be a little bit more expensive than others, but we'll give you reasons why we're at that price. And that's why it's KingsCab. And when people call, I always tell them, I remind them, it's KingsCab. It's not unnecessarily expensive, but we give class. We stand for class. That's why we use Mercedes-Benz for cab in Ife. We use Lexus. We use Venza. These are cars that even if you're in Lagos, they won't bring it to you. Yes, I have seen what other brands are doing in Lagos. I've gone around. The cars we use in Ife are not even cars they use, and that is our own mindset. We believe our clients are kings. They deserve the royal treatment. I didn't say it's a privilege to them. It's their right. That's why we won't put off our AC. No matter the price of fuel, KingsCab will not put off AC. Because I don't believe someone should take a ride and I'm offering AC because of fuel. I can tell the person this is now our price. I did a press release. I don't know if you saw it and more than 3 papers published it, that we are left with no option than to increase our price, but we will give you the best. So we brought out a policy that could make 3 friends or 4 be in a car and pay the same thing. So we called it the pool trip. For example, if you are going from an hostel now, instead of only you paying 3,000, and you have 2 friends that is going to agree, then you could talk to them, but you are the one that will make the arrangement. Then you could be 4 in the car and still pay the same amount, so as to lessen the burden on you, because we don't want to reduce our quality. We will only even increase our quality. So we look for, how can we help our clients so that they won't have to break bank to use right. So we're going places.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. When I speak to people like you, I really want to know not just about their success, but some of your biggest failures and how you overcame them and the lessons you learned from them.
Yeah.
Can you share some of it with our audience?
Oh yes, I will. Thank you very much. Well, the first challenge I had in business was I was duped. I remember then 2014, I just got married and I had saved. I was very careful when I was getting married. I realized that wedding costs a lot. There's difference between marriage and wedding. And that's why I tell young people, don't spend all your have on wedding and then start facing issues in your marriage. Cut your coat according to your clothes, not according to your size. Your size might be bigger than the clothes. So I made sure that about the time I was getting married, I bought a house. I had some money left and I knew this money will go for this wedding. So let me be careful. Let me get somewhere that I will put my wife. I don't want my children to know landlords. That was my plan. Because I know what my parents faced when we were growing up and landlord would come and threaten my dad. They were not good experiences. So I know if I could afford, if I could try, let my child grow up and not know who they call landlord once. And I thank God I only lived in a rented house for 1 year. And I moved to my house. Now, so after the wedding, I had about, 1.5 million left there in my account. So I wanted to my wife, I didn't want her to be taking bikes with, pregnancy. And I had a car, I'm a businessman, I would need the car most of the time. So there was this guy then in Ife, I paid him money. The guy ran away. It wasn't funny. I got home, I almost entered depression. That was like the last, my shop, the boutique, then there was no KingsCab, it was only the boutique. Every customer that entered kept asking, sir, what happened? Your shop is scanty. So I just smile. These are things that were paining me deeply. This guy was nowhere to be found. Numbers were not going. Nobody knows anywhere. He closed down his office. He had an office where I wasn't a fool. He closed down the office at Mayfair. I realized later it wasn't only me. He collected money from about 6-7 people in Mayfair and just took off. Then I said, I've always believed that I'm a go-getter. I said I will get this guy. There was one man that we're part of, because we called ourselves when we realized that it wasn't only me. So we had meetings. How do we get this guy? One Baba said, I'm giving everything to God. I said, no, I won't give everything to God. Jesus said, if you have 100 sheep and one is missing, you leave the 99 and go for the one. So I said, I will go after him. And I reported it. Of course, I did it legally. I don't use courtesy. I don't use wrong ways of achieving my goals. I go through the normal route. So I went to the station, reported. They said, this man, we are tracking his number, is in Lagos, so you are going to take us to Lagos, so we are going to. So I went after him and I got him arrested. It wasn't easy. I remember the day we saw him, he had a car already. Once he saw me like this, he just took off, left his car, he ran out of the car. Luckily for us, he didn't close the car. So he just, it was a Togba, he just ran off. Then we were able to tow the car to a nearest police station. Then the police parked the car. Long story short, I was able to get the money back, but it took time. And then the lesson I learned from there is that whatever I don't see now, I don't buy. If you are selling car, I don't mind what you are selling, how much you are selling, but you tell me to send money for. I said to someone I've been buying things from, and I know your shop, I know your place. If I don't see the money, do that, because once you experience things and you don't learn, you will repeat the lesson. And you will repeat. If I didn't learn, so I told myself this is the lesson. If I want to buy anything from anyone, I have to see what I'm buying. Because when we go to the court, because I got the car to court, the lawyer asked a question, his own lawyer, he even got lawyer. The man said, when he wanted to sell car to you, did you see the car? I said, no. He said, so how did you know he has a car? I said, he sent pictures. He said, so you bought pictures. Then that stuck with me till tomorrow. He said, so you bought pictures. You know lawyers now. Of course, they know he collected the money from us, but they are trying to get him out of the case. So the man asked me, so you bought pictures? Then I said, wow. So I bought pictures. So from now on, I will never buy pictures. I will see, if you want to send me a wristwatch, I will see it, then I will pay you and I will collect it. Then I've had, other experiences, There was something that happened last year. I always like to talk about it because, life is not just about talking about the good things that have happened to you. You should talk about the other things and what you learn. I started the loan company, that was 2021. So in 2022, there was a lady on this campus, I don't know, I borrowed her money, and she didn't want to pay back. It was obvious that we didn't have anything together, but she didn't want to pay the money back. And that, of course, made me make the decision to do that I didn't like, but it was good for me for now. Maybe until we're able to build something. We are working on an app now for the loan company whereby people will be able to borrow money outside of me. Once that is done, both male and female, adult and we can borrow everybody money. But for now, in our loan company, we don't borrow female money. And I'm sorry, it was a bad and bitter experience that I had to make such decision. I borrowed that money, she didn't want to pay back. Then she turned it to a blackmail that I had to sue her to court. Of course, eventually she paid the money back. I sued her, I won the case. But of course, it had an initial negative impact on my brand, because the truth is, if anybody asks me, did it affect your brand? I would say yes, but did it eventually affect my brand? I would say no. Because eventually when the whole thing came out and everybody saw the truth, that she had to pop. It wasn't something that I forced out. It wasn't a threat, because she was arrested. When the matter was in court, she had to make a public apology in 3 widely read newspapers, including Punch, Tribune, and I think Business Day. Of course, she paid damages to my company because it's a company that I have trademark on. KingsCab has a trademark. She sent my logo to some bloggers. Of course, those ones didn't post anything, but the whole thing went viral. I think on way Twitter, everything. Someone asked me that, how do I feel? But thank God for something. I didn't hide anything. I showed every of the charts that we had, and then, I let the whole hula baloo went down. Then I called my lawyers, because that's one thing. Be ready to pay for lawyers as you are growing in business. Don't wait for troubles. I have lawyers. They are important. You might not have any problem now, and so you might just be like you are wasting the money you are paying them. You are not wasting it. When issues come, because issues will arise. It's not even until issues arise, they can always guide you on how to. Because I remember that day when everything was boiling up. As a person that I was feeling hot, I wanted to start posting things too. Then I remember my lawyer called me from Lagos and said, do not post anything. Just release a statement about what happened, like a description of this is what happened between me and this person, and then lock up. Say we'll get back to her. If not that I had a lawyer who called immediately, I would have probably started posting things, which probably could have ended up being a 1-1 when we go to court. Because the things I post to, she will have them. When we got to the station in the court, she had nothing. Like there was no evidence from her side. There was nothing I did that. So they were asking her in the court, so what did this man do? Then she said, I was afraid he would post me. So that's why Every day posting his pictures, posting his wife, posting his child, doing things that are very. So I sued her for 30 million, but she paid some money. But it wasn't even about the money or the lessons. So after then, we stopped borrowing things. I had to go back. It was huge. It was huge. Yeah, to tell everybody it wasn't huge, I'm lying. But of course, you need to know why, sir. If I borrow you money as a man, if you don't pay me, I will fight. People will even be going their way like, one job, they're fighting. It's man to man, they're fighting. I need to pay his money now, or I need to be patient for him now. But I also want to plead with other, our female counterparts. Do not have a sense of entitlement when people borrow money. Generally, pay back when people borrow. Once the term is borrowed, it should be borrowed. Even if it's £1, pay it back. If you don't have it back, keep pleading. Like, sir, I borrowed the guy money last year. No, this year, it's still going on. But every time I message him, he's always pleading. Hey, sir, I'm in some issues. I will pay you. I can show you the chat. So even if I want to be angry, how can I be angry? Someone that is begging kept telling me you pay. And truly, probably doesn't have the money. But no, she thought she could go scot-free. And thank God, I was able to, it affected the brands, our business, or business. That's the man. Not that the man, like, that's the KingsCab, but that's the man. So, of course, eventually, it works positively back for the company. Usually, when I see the post that she had to do, which she wasn't forced to do. The thing that because maybe that notification what she has done, she also go back to the Twitter space and apologize. They told her the notification she might go to give, but this is told her it was a cyber assault, it wasn't just that maybe it was beyond that. So they took her to federal court in Sugar. She had to do those things here and still pay back some money. All her legal charges, all the money I spent for the legal charges, she paid it. She paid all everything spent for the money she had to pay. It was quite embarrassing for her later, because initially it was embarrassing for me. They made me learn to be discreet with money people. So now, it's a policy now. So we are looking for women to do something that will make everyone benefit from our money.
Information from grace to grace, and overcoming different challenges. We're going to come, at least you mentioned that two court cases that are going now. Yes, we are still able to stand strong. So I admire you a lot. Yeah. So, when you see yourself as a personally, as a coach, what impact you see yourself making in the world, what do you wish to achieve? Definitely see the world.
My love is to see young people become successful from nothing to something. I have been able to do it, not by my own power. So I believe others can achieve the same thing. Some people say you were born with a silver spoon, some say you were born with a gold spoon. I was born with that spoon at all, and I'm being sincere with you. If you knew where I grew up from, if you know how my secondary school life was, so if I have been able to succeed, of course success is in levels, but the level I am, I believe that I have succeeded. Others can also become. So that's why I mentor young people. I have a platform where I freely mentor young people. I make my door open for young people to come and learn from me. I don't believe you have to come and be working in my shop to learn. You can learn from me from afar, because people are in UK, US, in Lagos. So I want to see many people succeed. Like in that interview, when I said something, I said we should stop relying on the promises of the government. I don't know if you read that, send me later, that the government is trying and they can only do what they can do. But we need to also stand up and do things ourselves. I remember when I finished from school, if I was limited and was looking for a job, and I wasted away, many people are wasting away. While you're looking for a job, can you start something? Can you go and learn something that once it can put food in your mouth first, then from there you can start saving for your goals. I say this, I said, people say, go and do what you love, so that you make money. Yes, I say it's true, but it's not completely true. What if what you love now is not what you can afford to do? For example, I might be a superstar in the making for music, and I don't have money. Can I go and learn mechanic first and make some money? When I make money as a mechanic, I'm just giving that as a scenario. When I make money as a painter, when I make money as a tiler, then I cannot go after my passion. I know it's music I want to do, but can I go and do vulcanizer? Is it possible for me? Does it mean a guy cannot do vulcanizer? Can I just do something? Because money is very important. When you have money, you can then begin to pursue other passions that you have. Look at how I started. I started now. Now, if I'm supposed to be a musician now, I can afford to go to studio now. If that is what I want to do, I can now afford to go to the studio and go and sing. If it's what we shall sing, because I came out to sing. So that is why I want to be a legacy of helping people become rich. That is my belief. I want to be a legacy of helping people come out of poverty because I was deeply into poverty. Now I can't say I'm poor. I'm not where I am going to be, but I'm contented with where I am. I'm contented with where I am, but I'm not contented with where I am. So I'm going to keep striving more. I want to see people succeed. That is my goal. I want to see everybody around me do well. I encourage my staff. I put a 50% savings, compulsory savings for every one of them. You have to save, yes. Because I don't want you to work for me for 2 years and I see you third year and you are still poor. If you save, the least staff at KingsCab is collecting like 60, 70, 80,000. So 15% of it goes to save. When you are living, we give you everything. One of them, we give you money, he was able to buy a bike. Now he put the bike in logistics. He's doing the logistics himself now. Now he's still working with us. But once you save for 2 years, we give you everything. It's also our way of retention. So that because once you leave adult without nothing, without you lose the money. But that's not my focus. My focus is for you to be able to save. So that you know, because one thing is, no matter how much you are earning, you will spend everything. Your need is more than what is coming in. So that's what I'm because there are many challenges and people need to solve them continually. So I want people to succeed. I want to see people driving their car. I always glad when I see people that have worked for me before, now having done things and doing well. It's always my job.
That's so sweet. Such a nice conversation with you. Thank you, sir. So what can people find you on social media?
Okay, on social media, okay. I have a personal Instagram account where I teach. I encourage people. It's at Kings_Wealth Nation. Kings_Wealth Nation. Then for KingsCab, at KingsCab Africa. That's KingsCab Africa. Then for the boutique, we have at Kings_Collection. So once you come into my personal account, you see all other social. Then on Twitter, I teach on Twitter a lot. I see my Twitter platform as a way of me encouraging you to talk about business, my experiences. I also I make it practical. I talk about business. So I think my Twitter account is Kolade 7. Kolade 7. And 7 there is perfection. Just what I need to do. So you can follow me on Twitter. If you follow on Twitter, I do basically teachings on Twitter. I don't post every day, but once I post, I do teachings. And then if you follow on Instagram at Kings_Wealth Nation, that's where you see all the other social media.
Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. Thank you guys for watching this episode. Please make sure you subscribe and follow us on all our social media platforms at Validity Enterprise. Thank you so much, sir.
Mr. David.